A massive scandal mars the boxing at the Paris Games after an Algerian woman boxer who previously failed a gender eligibility test stopped her opponent 46 seconds into the match. Also, Liam McGuinn from our sports desk is here to talk about the highs and lows of Day 7 at these games, including the fact that Teddy Riner has just won his medal in the judo. And we'll be talking to Daily Beast contributor Craig Capus about the legacy of these games for the French capital. Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to Destination Paris, a daily roundup of all the Olympic action here in the French capital. As I said, a scandal has engulfed the boxing at the Paris Games after an Algerian female boxer who previously failed a gender eligibility test stopped her opponent after 46 seconds into the match. Italian boxer Angela Carini abruptly withdrew from the match against Algerian Iman Khalif, who was previously disqualified from last year's boxing championships. That after the Sports Federation said she'd failed a gender eligibility test. The incident has gone viral on social media, where the likes of J.K. Rowling and Elon Musk are decrying Olympic organisers over the event. Jenny Shin has more.
It was a match that lasted only 46 seconds. Italian boxer Angela Carini raised a white flag after taking stinging blows to her nose from her Algerian opponent, Iman Khalif.
I realized that either I stop myself or I could hurt myself for real. So I thought perhaps it's better to be smart and be mature.
25-year-old Khalif has competed in many matches over the years, from several world championships to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. But in 2023, the International Boxing Association disqualified the Algerian boxer from the World Cup after a gender eligibility test allegedly found she has XY chromosomes, allegations that Khalif has contested. The latest incident at the Paris Games has reignited the issues surrounding female athletes with high levels of testosterone, with high-profile figures weighing in on the debate, including Italian Premier Giorgia Meloni.
It's a fact that with the levels of testosterone present in the Algerian athlete's blood, the match does not seem fair. I think that athletes who have male genetic characteristics should not be allowed to compete in women's competitions. And not because we want to discriminate against anyone, but to protect the right of female athletes to be able to compete on equal terms.
The IOC, which does not recognise the IBA, says there's no question about Khalif's eligibility to compete.
The Algerian boxer was born female, was registered female, lived her life as a female, boxed as a female, has a female passport. This is not a transgender case. I know you're not saying that, but there has been some confusion that somehow it's a man fighting a woman. This is just not the case. Scientifically, on that there is consensus. Scientifically, this is not a man fighting a woman.
The IOC says the controversy is based entirely on the arbitrary decision of the IBA, whose decision to disqualify Khalif was taken without a proper procedure. It added that measuring testosterone is unsatisfactory, as there are many women with higher levels than men.
Joining me in the studio is Daily Beast contributor Craig Capus, who's actually just returned from watching a match between Taiwan's Lin Yu-tin and her Uzbekistan rival. She herself also been accused of the same thing as the Algerian boxer. Craig, this has turned into somewhat of an embarrassment for the International Olympic Committee, has it not?
Let's call this story Requiem for a Chromosome. And let me tell you what this story is not about. It's not about drugs. It's not about transgender. It's not about transvestites. It's not about genetic augmentation via chemicals. It's not about surgery that replaces body parts. It has nothing to do with Hilary Swank in the movie $1 Million Baby. What this is about is there is a condition, a medical condition, where some women have higher amounts of testosterone. And these two women have that. And they have for years been allowed to compete at international boxing events and at the highest levels of the IOC at Olympics. Last year, the International Boxing Association which is a front for the Kremlin and for its former client states, Uzbekistan, all the stands, very corrupt organization, was ejected from the IOC family. And then Russia wasn't allowed to come to the games, as we know. So what did this organization do last year? They said, you two ladies can no longer compete. It was a mischief-making operation. And boy, was it a successful one, because now we're having this discussion, and the question really comes down to one of common sense. If a woman has a higher level of testosterone than the one she's competing in the ring, she is going to be a little bit stronger. The IOC made a decision years ago that that was okay. And now everyone's backtracking on the decision for their own reasons. That's what's happening.
Yet this issue has been seized by those who have a stake in the so-called debate over the participation of transgender athletes, expressing very strong views on either side, haven't they?
Yes, very much so. And is it a legitimate debate? Well, yeah, but it should not be a legitimate debate here, because these women have participated without debate in previous Olympic Games and international competitions. Now, in today's match, the Tratabenkova versus Lin, it was like Ali Frazier. The boxer, lady boxer from Taiwan, she won a unanimous decision. She was taller, longer arms, stronger punch. She had it all over the young lady from Uzbekistan. But the young lady from Uzbekistan, Turbakova, you should have seen the match. It was Ali Frazier. She was going in there like smoking Joe Frazier. She put up a good fight. But everyone in the press stands who covered boxing was saying, well, we know who's going to win this match.
I'm just going to leave it there for the moment, Craig, because we're going to cross now to Selena Sykes from our sports desk, who's got some good news for the French athlete Teddy Riner, who's won his 4th Olympic gold medal. Tell us more, Selena.
That's right, Annette. The king, Teddy Riner, is back after having to settle for bronze in Tokyo 3 years ago. He's got his 4th gold medal in the plus 100 kilo category. It's literally just finished behind me with a raucous French crowd, as you can imagine. Absolutely ecstatic scenes. Teddy Riner beating South Korean Kim Min-jeon. No easy feat. He is the current world champion of this year. There was about 30 seconds left on the clock, and the tension was palpable before Teddy Riner pulled off an ippon to put an end to the fight. The atmosphere, the whole crowd bursting in to joyous scenes here at the Champ de Mars Arena. Teddy Riner saying that at 35 years old, he feels stronger mentally and physically than ever before. And well, he's done it. He's got his 4th gold medal. That's 3 individual golds in his category. No other man has managed to do that in the history of the Olympic Games, as well as that gold team event from 3 years ago in Tokyo. And he'll be hoping to add to his medal tally, because he'll be representing France in the team event on Saturday, tomorrow, in which France are one of the big favourites to take home another gold medal.
Selena, thank you for that. And joining me here in the studio is Leo McGuinn, also from our sports desk. Leo, I mean, good news for the French. Obviously, that's going to cause a lot of cheering. But what are the main highlights of the day?
Well, it's going a lot better for France now than it was a few hours ago. They had their great hope, the teenage sensation, 17-year-old Félix Lebrun. They really did hope he could win gold in the table tennis, but he lost in the semi-final to Fang Zhendong of China. So he still has a chance for bronze, but they did really think he could become France's first ever gold medalist in table tennis. So a disappointing day for France. Up till now, Teddy Riner has changed that now, of course. One country that hasn't had a disappointing day is GB. A bit of a gold rush for them. 3 golds within about 2 hours earlier on. First was the rowing, was Emily Craig and Imogen Grant putting in a brilliant performance in the women's lightweight double sculls. It's the last time we'll ever see that at Olympics, so they'll be reigning Olympic champions forever. Not a bad feat. A few hours later, we saw Bryony Page. She won Great Britain's first ever trampolining gold. And to round that off, in the last couple of hours, we had GB winning the equestrian team jumping final. That brings GB up to 9 golds in total, into the top 4 in the table. I also have to mention Ireland, a second gold at the Games for them. Paul O'Donovan and Fintan McCarthy winning the gold in the rowing. If they were to win one more gold at these Games, which is possible because we have Daniel Whiffing who'll be competing in the 1500 metres, and Kelly Harrington, who's got a semi-final in the boxing tonight. She's already guaranteed a bronze. If Ireland were to win another gold, it would be their best Games ever for such a small country. It's a great achievement.
Can't they win in hurling?
They can't win in hurling, unfortunately. They
Why
still
not?
haven't introduced it into the Games, which I think is
that's
negligible.
a sin.
I agree.
A little bit of nationalist bias coming through there,
Not at all.
Leah.
Not at all.
Thanks for that, Leah. Now, one unique aspect of these Paris Games is the so-called houses dotted in and around by the city, set up by a number of different countries, where lucky visitors can enjoy screenings, collect merchandise, and maybe even rub shoulders with some of the athletes. Clovis Casali went and took a tour of the South Korean house.
Korea House is in a beautiful 18th century hôtel particulier, a mansion in Paris. In the gardens, you have a giant screen, of course, to watch live the events of the Olympic Games. Today, many people have come to watch archery, where South Korea is the best team in the world. Behind me, of course, street food stands to have lunch or dinner. And inside you have even a room where visitors can try traditional South Korean outfits, and they're very popular.
C'est super confortable.
It's really comfy. It's nice and beautiful.
We're happy to discover this culture that we only really see on our screens usually. We're immersing ourselves a little. It's great.
It makes us very proud to show our Korean culture. With the Hallyu wave, the Korean wave, a lot of foreigners come here to try our food, clothes and other things.
Now let me take you to another room, the K-culture one. K-pop music here and cinema. Korean culture celebrated, and it has fans around the world, not just in Asia, of course. Here you have various entertainment, video games, and a photo booth, slightly unusual. Well, that's it. I've got my pictures with the badminton stars from South Korea. Clearly a good souvenir from the Paris 2024 Games and of Korea House.
And as expected, tourists have flocked to Paris, but although the organising committee had predicted the Games would bring in somewhat around €9 billion boost to the city's economy, the reality, according to restaurant owners and taxi drivers, appears to be very different. So will these Games invigorate the city? The government insists that they will, if not immediately, but certainly in the years to come. Antonio Kerrigan has more.
With Olympic venues packed out to the rafters, the world's 5th most visited city has managed to up its game this year. 20% more tourists visiting the metropolis this July than last July, including 15% more French tourists. Hotel occupancy peaked at 90% on the opening weekend of the Games, now down to 82%, but with prices still far higher than usual. But other sectors who hope to capitalise haven't seen the windfall they were expecting. For instance, with the Olympics laying on cars to transport VIPs and free shuttles in certain places for stadium goers, taxi drivers have been waiting hours to find customers.
This month, we've suffered a loss of 40 to 50%, so we can't even cover our costs.
Taxi drivers' unions have lodged a request for government compensation. Another damper on the much-heralded boom, tourists with one eye on the budget.
We've noticed that Olympic tourism is mostly backpack tourism. I say that without any negative connotation. They've spent a lot on transport to get here, on transport to get around Paris, on their accommodation and their tickets. so there isn't much left for food.
Restaurants in the city centre have seen an uptick in customers since the lifting of widespread road closures around the opening ceremony, but they say they are far from reaching capacity. On Thursday, the government looked to reassure, promising longer-term economic benefits.
In London, there was an uptick in tourism for 4, 5, 6 years after the Games. And when we see the image of Paris and France that we're showing the world with our Olympic venues in the heart of the city, in beautiful locations, we can obviously expect benefits for our tourism and our economy in the years to come.
Neighbourhoods around Olympic venues are of course benefiting from the inrush of tourists, like here in La Villette and Seine-Saint-Denis.
And joining me in the studio is Craig Capus, a contributor to the Daily Beast. Craig, we're almost at the halfway point of these Games. So what sort of legacy will the Olympics leave for Paris?
That the Olympics are only too expensive in your imagination. You're not going to know for a while. If you're a cab driver or a restaurant owner, you're not happy right now. I've covered, I think, 8 Olympic Games. They're all great. This one has been magical for the athletes, for the television viewers, and for the spectators. It is beyond belief. Hard to top.
And I understand you've been hearing some rather interesting rumours about the closing ceremony.
Yes, Los Angeles is very nervous about how they're going to top Paris. And the IOC, the Olympics are big on symbolism, and the big symbol is the transfer of the Olympic flag from Paris to the next city, Los Angeles, which takes place at the closing ceremony. Well, the word is the flag is going to be transferred by none other than Tom Cruise, who will be skydiving out of a plane over Los Angeles with the Parisian Olympic flag and landing on the Hollywood sign above Los Angeles. And that'll be the final moment, signifying that Los Angeles is now the Olympic city. And I think pretty much Hollywood studios are going to be involved with creating the next games and Summer Games in 2028. Because I don't know. If anyone knows how Paris can be top, please call me. We've been trying to find out.
I mean, it has been a massive success, hasn't it? The fact that Paris has been an incredible backdrop, that they've saved money by using existing venues and also being really thinking outside the box, perhaps in a fairly unusual French manner, in terms of being creative about using these venues.
Look, the French love controversy. They love argument. They foster it. They bathe in it. They love all the controversy that's been going on with the opening ceremony. It's caused people to talk. You see races. You see archery at the Invalides. They're shooting arrows at Napoleon's tomb. You're seeing road races, around the city. You're seeing beach volleyball beneath the Eiffel Tower, Place de la Concorde. They're playing 3-person basketball over there. They're doing skateboarding, BMX. I mean, that's where Louis and his wife had their heads cut off in front of the Hotel Crillon. This has been a fabulous Olympics. And for the athletes, at the end, it is always about the athletes. I've talked to a lot of athletes, and I haven't spoken to one who says they haven't had the time of their life. And those include athletes who have been to former Olympic Games.
Craig Capus, as always, a joy to have you with us. Thanks for that. And that's it for this edition. Do stay with us here on France 24.